Russia has increased its presence on the border with Ukraine by as many as 7,000 troops, some of whom arrived as recently as Wednesday. President Volodymyr Zelensky used a Day of Unity address Wednesday to declare that Ukraine is fearless in the face of a potential Russian invasion, vowing that his country would fight back. Meanwhile, the U.S. State Department says that Russia is attempting to create a pretext for invasion by way of unsupported claims of genocide and mass graves in Ukraine's eastern Donbas region, which is controlled by Moscow-backed separatists. Here is Leila Mohammed with that update.
The Kremlin has denied responsibility for a cyber attack on Ukraine that hit websites at the country's defense ministry and armed forces, as well as 2 state banks. Kiev had suggested the attack came from Russia, as fears persist that Moscow is planning to invade its western-backed neighbor, Ukraine. Tuesday's cyber attack came 1 month after another strike briefly took down key government websites. Meanwhile, Ukraine has held military drills in Rivne, near the Belarusian border. Russia says military drills in Moscow-annexed Crimea have ended and that soldiers are returning to their garrisons a day after it announced a first troop pullback from Ukraine's borders.
We are not afraid of forecasts. We are not afraid of anyone, of any enemies. We are not afraid of any dates on the calendar, because we will defend ourselves.
U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris will meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on the sidelines of the annual Munich Security Conference this week. The United States on Wednesday dismissed reports that Russia was withdrawing troops from Ukraine's border, instead accusing Moscow of sending more soldiers as fears of an invasion grow.
Over the past several weeks, we've also seen Russian officials and Russian media plant numerous stories in the press, any one of which could be elevated to serve as a pretext for an invasion. This could happen, we are concerned, at any time, and the world should be ready for it. It could involve claims about Ukrainian military activity in the Donbas, false claims of U.S. or NATO activities on land, at sea, or air.
Earlier Wednesday, the United States and NATO joined Ukraine in saying there was no sign of Russian troops withdrawing after military movements in occupied Crimea fueled reports that the crisis could be abating. In Rivne, missiles pounded practice targets, while in Kiev, hundreds of civilians marched in a stadium with an enormous national banner. Russia's huge buildup of troops, missiles and warships around Ukraine has been billed as Europe's worst security risk since the Cold War.